to, like, stoop down really low. And he ends up dating, like, this... I don't want to be mean, but,
literal
like,
retard.
she is inbred.
Yeah.
And she has a lot of health problems. And, you know, he asked her out. And, of course, she's like, yeah, I'll go out with you. So he's been dating this girl for, I think, like, 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And he constantly tries to make me feel jealous. But I feel bad for the girl because I think she knows that she's part of his ploy. Because, like, he'll still talk about me and he'll still text me and stuff. And, like, I've blocked him on a bunch of social media, but I know he still talks about me and, like, you know, general stalker things.
Dated this nigga for 2 days!
Yeah, and he's
been stalking you for 6 years!
Yeah, 6 years. So I've blocked him on, like, all my social media, but he keeps making new accounts. And, I guess he had made, like, a new Facebook and had got a new computer, so his IP address wasn't blocked. So he, like, started sending me private messages on Facebook, and they're, like, the hidden messages, so it's not like I can only see them, like, if you go to the hidden messages section, so they're kind of, like, a pain in the ass to find. So I had, like, noticed that I had one, and it was from him, and it was, like, a week old, and I'm like, oh shit, how did he find me? Like, I thought I blocked this guy in, like, every conceivable way, but I guess he found a way. And his messages were like, I'm gonna come to, like, your work. Don't make me come to your work. I just want to talk to you. How can I make you love me? Like, I just need you to love me, and all this, like, really crazy fucking shit. So I don't respond because I don't know what to say. Just kind of ignore it. And then a couple days later, his girlfriend is just at Target, and she's, like, in the little girls section, which is, like, right where the check lanes are. So she's, like, I keep seeing her peek at me, and I don't know why she's in the little girls section, because I don't think she has a kid. I don't think she has, like, a family. And she just, like, kept looking at me and then, like, hiding in the girls section. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? So when I come home later that day, I get a message from him, and it's just, did you enjoy seeing her? Yeah, like, he had sent her to Target to fucking spy on me.
Yeah.
And I was, like, really freaked out.
Creepiest shit that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So, I messaged him on Facebook with your account.
Yeah. Because I wanted you to message him, because I am scared. Yeah. And I wanted somebody to be there.
I'm scared. I don't like this.
I want to show somebody, like, hey, this is, like, what's going on. Like, right. I want to show you. I don't know what to say at this point, because I've, like, tried blocking him a million fucking ways. Right. And obviously, like, me trying to be sort of nice about it isn't working.
Yeah. So you hadn't responded to any of his hidden messages, and the most recent ones were like, he had said something like, I know you read these because it says that you've, like, checked them or something, and then, like, did you enjoy seeing her? And I messaged him, do not ever message me again. I will file a restraining order on you if you message me one more time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's messaged you
No,
since
he
then,
hasn't. I haven't checked, but I haven't gotten any notifications or anything. I never check my phone. Like, the only people who text me are Conrad, my dad occasionally, and then people from work, and I don't fucking look at my work texts. Like, if you have to contact me about work, do not text me. Like, just don't. Just don't contact me about work. Yeah. Do it when I'm at work. I'm at work every single day. I don't get fucking days off. Like, if you want to switch shifts with me, no. No, I go to school and I fucking work, like, basically full time, so I don't have time to switch shifts. Like, it's a pain in the ass to remember when you switch a shift, because, like, the schedule is an update, so you have to, like, keep track on your own. And, yeah, if you have to contact me about work, nobody texts me. I don't respond to texts. If you really want to get a hold of me, call me.
Yeah.
I'm old. I don't have time to text. Fucking send me a tweet if you want to fucking throw down.
Oh, Frost Temple.
Yeah, I did really well, even though I was telling the story. I got, like, 150.
Yeah, you did good.
Did I unlock any fucking clothing? How do you win clothes?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Because that's what I want to do, is win clothes.
So, yeah, this is simultaneously, like, that guy terrifies me and disgusts me. And, if there's anything that could be done about it, I'd want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to buy it with CP, which we currently have 692 of, so you can, in fact, buy some shit.
Oh, you can make her blonde. Or like ash blonde.
How can you tell?
It's white. It's white hair.
They're all
and then she has black. Oh, it is. Oh, you're right. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing. I want to get her a new outfit. But I really wish you could preview it before you fucking spend money. What's the face? Is it just like face paint? She has different glasses. Oh.
She already wears glasses.
Oh, she has kitties. Glasses and kitties.
Oh, kitty.
Oh, it's a wolf. That's not as cool.
So, yeah.
Fuck wolves.
That guy scares me. But also, it's partly why you have to be you have to have different classes in order to get some of them. So like you have to have earned like rank, but you can get the maid outfit.
Okay, maido.
If you want it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, she looks like two broke girls.
Oh my god, you're right. I was thinking she looked exactly like a character from Punchline. Like she already looked kind of like her, but now with that outfit, it's like identical. But at the very least, in spite of how creepy that guy is, this is why I know you can handle being online. Because you already have stalkers IRL.
Yeah.
Like, all the kind of shit that people get online that people are, like, afraid of to get on the internet for already happens to you.
Yeah.
You've already got haters.
I've had haters since day one. The day I was birthed.
You've got haters. You've got stalkers. You got creepers.
I got wannabes, too. I got people who, like, literally want to be me.
Yeah.
So...
You got enemy, got a lot of enemy, got a lot of nigga trying to take away your energy.
Yeah.
Trying to put weight on a nigga. You know that song?
I do. Of course I fucking know that song. That's my theme song. Look, I made her into a fucking Mado.
Did you still want to comment on Zesty Comment?
No, I think that person just was talking about Warrior Cats and like, yeah, if you like fucking Warrior Cats and you are part of that community, you're a cool motherfucker. You know, like it wasn't a huge community, but the people who are in it were really...
the Zesty Comment was you like somebody shitting on you.
Was it? No, it wasn't. That was a good comment.
Zesty Comment? It's called Zesty.
No, because the person's name was Zesty.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were just saying it was a Zesty.
They were talking about how
I don't think we ever got to this then in the Kirby Let's Play.
I could pull up the comment because I forgot what it was. I think it was on like episode 2 or 3.
Okay, no, shitty Reddit comment was the
we can address some
yeah, we never got to
Reddit.
Zesty comment.
Yeah,
in the previous thing.
Let me pull up this comment.
Not that I'm like begging you to do it.
I'm not, but the fact that it's written down means I put some thought into a response.
Yeah, here,
so
give me
I
the
should.
Controller since you're cycling through that shit.
I'll fucking find the Zesty shit.
It's hard to know like what the difference between all these categories is since there's no explanation. Let's Plays are now green-haired.
Oh, this person was just like, May talking about Warrior Cats spooked me because I was also a Warrior Cats YouTuber. It was such a huge part of my childhood, and suddenly hearing about it on Digibros was such a strange deja vu experience, as if nothing else could get me more invested in the Digibros mythos. Also, I was into the role-playing forums, yes. And then they also continued saying watching Alley Cat Nya, Ginga Weed, making animation casting calls, and then never making the series. I've never related to something more. This person's
also seen Ginga Weed too.
Unexpectedly at 4 a.m. May is a Digibros member. I mean, there was a huge crossover because people who liked Warrior Cats, like, you know, I'm pretty sure we all wanted more fucking adult animal material. Yeah. You know, I'm
adult
sure...
in heavy scare quotes.
Yeah. I mean, like, we were all, like, edgy teenagers, and that shit was cool. Like, fucking, like, Watership Down was the OG, and we're, like, the next generation.
What was that German movie that someone had asked
Felidae, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. I love Felidae. I've seen it, like, 4 times, probably. The fucking scene... I can't spoil it because I have to show you Felidae.
Oh, okay.
But there's some really great fucking cat gore in there. If you're into cat gore, there was also like a YouTube comment on one of like the later episodes, just saying that the sorority had fucked me up and that I was like into snuff films because of it. No, that was way before that. I was a fucked up individual from, like...
That's why you joined the sorority.
The sorority was more to, like, normalize myself and learn how to talk to females. Because, like, up to that point, all of my friends had been guys, and that was becoming a problem. And, like, I had 2 really close female friends, but,
becoming a problem because they all fall in love with you?
Yeah, I mean...
Because guys and girls cannot be friends?
They can, but I mean, most of the time, if a guy is hanging out with you 24/7 and they don't have a girlfriend, like, they're gonna start getting attached to you. Especially if, like, I'm very personal, and I ask personal questions, and I, like, talk about intimate stuff with people who are, like, sort of close to me. And that, you know, once you start, like, sharing personal things with somebody, it's pretty easy to see yourself falling for them. And it's not even, like, liking me, it's just, like, wanting to fuck me or just hanging out with me because I, like, make them look cooler. There's just a lot of reasons that kind of complicate a female-male friendship. And, you know, it's nice to have...
Whoa, what was I...
You're doing some kind of...
I fucked it up, but...
Oh my god. I don't know if I like her so much with that outfit, but I still do. I like her red glasses.
Yeah.
They're red now instead of pink.
Okay, so the way that this... I picked crazy exhibition. And...
Oh, shit.
Oh... Like, every time you hit pins, you fill up a meter, and then, like, when that meter hits max, then you get a special power. God damn it, I have to be, like, perfect.
I had no idea what I was talking about. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I was talking about boys and girls being friends.
Yeah.
They can be. It's just, you can't have all of your friends be of the opposite gender.
Test.
Like, if you're a girl, you need female company.
Perfect.
Yes.
So, what? Oh.
Success.
Okay, I guess I've just got a Super Ball now.
Super Monkey Ball.
And I gutter balled it.
Oh.
I assumed it would just automatically win. Like, what else would it do?
What the fuck?
What else would it do if not automatically win for me?
What is going on?
I picked Crazy Exhibition.
Game? I guess so. I guess you have to do, like, curveballs and shit to, like, get around it.
Here, you want to play?
Oh my god. Yeah, sure.
So, alright, I guess that was the end of that thing. Yeah, Dick Win 30. I was gonna talk about... I don't think we ever got to this one either on the Kirby Let's Play. So, I was telling you that by the time I'm 30, I think I'm going to turn into Dick Masterson. And... because it's already happening. Every day, I'm becoming more and more... I feel like I'm chugging red pills every day.
Yeah.
And black pills, all the pills. I'm just chugging pills, getting angrier.
I'm sure being around me isn't helping that.
Yeah. Well, I'm chugging pills, getting more... Whoa. What the fuck? Test. Let's do it, bad boys. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Alright, I forgot to change the name. 8:30. Hey! I'll be reading both the chat and the Discord, whichever one people decide to message me on. But the chat is preferable because it shows up on screen, so that is good for the future. It means people can watch this back and see all the messages and who left them and everything. I just woke up about an hour ago and jumped up remembering that I have a live stream to do. What up, what about things? Gunts Wasabi, Zachary Roberts, Tyler Williams. How has my morning been? Pretty good. I mean, I got up and came to the computer, basically, and I was looking at stuff, thinking about what I'm going to do today, which probably would have been just play Tomb Raider and finish the Dick Show because I'm close to done with catching up on it. A delay. Do you mean a delay between the audio and video? What do you mean by a delay? Do you mean a delay between you typing and it showing up on screen? Because that always happens. That's just live streaming. It's just the way it is. The way that live streaming works. It's never instantaneous. Anywho, yeah, I probably would have spent all day playing Tomb Raider and listening to the rest of the Dick Show, but upon getting online, I looked at the patron chat and saw people saying, like, oh yeah, I can't wait for the live stream at 1, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. I'm gonna do it at 1. Like, it was more that I posed, like, the question, like, hey, will 1 work for you guys? But the conversation of people saying that whether it would or not led to it just becoming the time. So now it is. Yeah, it may not be a good idea to have your full name on YouTube, Zachary Roberts, but, you know, it's also not a bad idea. Your full names are everywhere on the internet now. Personally, I don't know how much it matters. I guess it matters in some cases if people want to somehow fuck you over. It depends on, like, what your job is. How protective do you need to be? If you work a normal job, like, what? You work at Target? Who cares about your real name? What, are they going to fire you from Target because you said something, I don't know, inflammatory? You watch a guy who jokes about fucking little girls? Is that, like, enough to get you fired? People Not Here wrote a bunch of questions in the Patreon. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna read shit out of the patron chat too. Hopefully those guys will be showing up soon. I know some of them. So many Jeffs at Target though. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by that. By the way, hello Wyatt Walsh and Drasil Abyss. Alright, let's, you guys can go ahead and start asking me stuff if you want. There's already plenty of people here, but I'm gonna go into the Patreon Discord and see what these guys are talking about. Alright, Laffer Style said he couldn't make it, because it's at 3 a.m. for him, but here's some questions. So, 1. Just recently I watched the Ape Escape Let's Play from Radcon 2 because it's a gold mine. Do you ever rewatch Let's Plays? And if so, which Let's Plays do you watch the most? I do. I've rewatched a few Game Grumps Let's Plays. I would say, like, the Katamari Damacy ones, I've probably seen more than once. The Kirby's Epic Yarn Let's Play, I think I've watched twice. Generally, like, games that I want to be lost in the atmosphere in, like, I think my favorite Let's Plays are dependent on, like, how much I want to watch someone play that game, and what that game brings out of people who are playing it. Like, the incredibly mellow mood that Kirby's Epic Yarn or Kirby's Dream Course brings out, which are both really solid Game Grumps series. So, like, if it's a game I can zone out and look at pretty colors, I'll probably rewatch that one. I don't think I've ever rewatched a Digibros Let's Play because for me it's kind of too fucking weird to, like, hear me talking about, like, my life and opinions as of that point in time, which have changed, and it's, like, I don't know, it's freaky for me. Like, for the audience, they're always like, oh, it's interesting to hear how you felt so differently back then. For me, it's like, oh god, I hate hearing how I felt back then. Which year do you think was a better year for anime, 2014 or 2016? 2014, no question. Well, wait, didn't I raise a big question about that in my video at the end of the year? The, like, so how was this year of anime? I was saying that 2014 had better shows, but 2016 had more good shows. I mean, ultimately, if you're going to ask me in a year what shows I remember from both years, like, 2014 is the one that's got the first half of Shirobako, the second half of Kill La Kill, second half of Log Horizon and first half of season 2. It's got fucking the best arc of Hunter x Hunter. So like Ping Pong, like that's a fucking top tier list of shows that have aired that year, you know, even if the back half of it kind of falls off. Most of the stuff that was like good in 2016 I'll probably forget about, you know. It's gonna be the like truly amazing shit like Girlish Number and Sangatsu no Lion are like the ones I'll probably remember from that year. And I still haven't fucking finished Sangatsu no Lion, which is getting a second season anyway, so there's no real finishing of it. And the last question of Laugher Style, what do you think of the taste of the NSFW channel? Referring to the NSFW channel on the Discord chat. It's pretty average, I think. They just, I don't know, most of it's like goofy shit. I'm looking at it right now. They like to look at cute girls getting fucked. I mean, it's the same that it would be anywhere else, I think. I'll say I don't necessarily think they have amazing taste. There's nothing in here that's like shitty. Like all of it is at least decent artwork. Personally, my standards are a little higher, but it's not bad. Not bad stuff. Alright, looking back at the active chat. I joke about fucking little girls and people still like me. Same. How much of the Discord do you read? I read everything in the Discussing Digi Content tab. I've got the General Discussion and Anime Talk tabs muted, so I don't read all of that. Like, I'll pop in if I get brought up, or if I'm really bored and I just want to check through and see what's going on, I'll pop into those two. But yeah, anything in the Discussing Digi Content tab, I will read. And any of the hidden chats for different patron layers, I will read those, just because they're not that active, so it's not like I need to mute them. But yeah, mostly the discussion of my own shit, because that's what I want it for, is like basically a replacement comment section. Like, I'm sick of reading comments on my videos, so you know, this is a better place to just get a quick little rush of someone talking about my video and having an opinion on it. Do you have plans to watch End of Evangelion soon? I don't have plans to do so, but I wouldn't mind doing it soon. Currently, I've gone down a, well, I won't say I've gone down a rabbit hole. More like I've discovered that watching really good anime movies when you're high is a great idea. So maybe I'll watch that movie high sometimes, and like I'll understand everything about it. Well, that's how I feel when I'm high. I'm much more analytical of like every single second of what I'm watching. Last night I watched My Neighbor Totoro super high, and it was fucking great. Like I didn't even really like My Neighbor Totoro until watching it high, and then I loved it. What do you think of Devu falling in love with the term high-quality non-content? It's a great term. I'm glad that that term exists. It's I know exactly what it's describing. And that's my favorite kind of content, really. Like, there was a huge discussion that happened between me and Endless Jess at his house when I went there. I feel like I've brought this up already somewhere, but maybe not gone into much detail, that, like, he and I were watching stuff like Potion Seller and videos by GMC Faux Show, and we were talking about how, like, this is what YouTube should have always been, and it's what we should have been doing, which is just making totally unique, creative, weird shit, and it doesn't matter, like, what the video quality is, or like trying to make it look professional, because what matters is how great the idea is and how it's fucking hilarious regardless of, or perhaps even because of, the low quality of the you know, video and shit. It's like, this is stuff that is utterly hilarious and totally meaningless, and it's much more memorable and valuable than like stuff that tries to be intelligent but only kind of lasts in the moment. Like, I feel like a a lot of analytical content and reviews, like, ages badly, you know? Not all of it. Some of it ages really well. Obviously, Mr. Plinkett videos are, like, timeless as far as analysis videos go, but I do think there's a lot of shit that you won't come back to. Whereas those little inspired bursts of nonsense are something that you'll keep coming back to because there's nothing else like it on the internet. I have no idea if that has to do with high quality non-content. I just wanted to go on that rant. Doing that with Akira and Digimon Tamer is actually the best thing ever. Try that too. I assume you mean being high and watching anime. Yeah, I bet Akira high is pretty fucking intense. I'm afraid to, like, watch anything too emotional, because, like, when we got high last night, I was like, let's watch My Neighbor Totoro, and then I thought about watching The Wind Rises just to have, like, a real, like, deep experience, but I was like, that movie's gonna fuck with me. Like, I can't watch that one. It'll be too intense. I feel like getting high brings out all the extra flavors in something that's maybe not as obvious, like, not as obviously dense. Like, there's a lot going on, but it's all kind of in the background. Like, in something like Totoro, plot-wise, the movie is incredibly simplistic, and most of it is just dicking around. It's just watching these two cute little girls run around and have fun times. But, like, it's just, like, the timing of shots and the directing and everything, and, you know, the way that the characters move is and the different outfits and shit. Those are, like, the details that make the movie so endearing, and it's a lot easier to notice that kind of shit when you've got, when you're running over every single frame of the film 3 times before it moves on. Rate the anime YouTubers best to worst, include whoever you want. Okay, well, I'm the best anime YouTuber. Then I would say, how do I rate them? I mean, there's a bunch of good ones, but the thing is that there's nobody who's both really good and really prolific, which is why I always put myself as the best, because, like, you know, Demolition D was a great YouTuber, but he's basically gone, and he never had that many videos to begin with, and he never had, like, a depth of things to say about anime. You got Best Guy Ever, who has been more prolific, though he covers anime and video games, and I really love watching his videos. He can talk in depth about specific shows, but not so much on the broad lens of anime. My Japanese Animes, Endless Jess's channel, which is fucking hilarious, but again, not really broad lens and not super prolific. At least that channel's not. He does all kinds of shit elsewhere. You know, you got guys like the Kanapa Effect who have interesting stuff to say, but they're not that, like, entertaining. Same with Pedantic Romantic. I won't drop everything to watch a Pedantic Romantic or Kanapa video. I skip a lot of theirs because I'm just not in the mood for it. So you got, like, Explanation Point, who's new, and he doesn't seem to know that much about anime, like, on a broader lens. So that's sort of a problem. So basically there's nobody who's, like, a clear, like, competition for me in regards to, like, the things I value out of anime videos. Like, I want you to be able to tell me a lot of shit about anime, like, to understand it from a broad lens perspective, to be at least somewhat entertaining, and also to have interesting ideas. And I feel like a lot of people have 2 of those, but not all 3. Which is why there's no anime channel that I'm deeply in love with in the way that I am with a lot of video game analysis channels. You know, I always compare myself to Super Bunny Hop. I see him as, like, the gaming equivalent of me, and I'd love it if there was an anime, like, an even closer anime equivalent of him, because he does more, like, journalistic shit, whereas I do more personal stuff. So I'd love it if there was, like, a real anime journalist on the scene. Where the fuck was I in this? But EOE is a crazy movie. Do you think that'd be too intense for your type of highs? It might be. But I've seen End of Eva a bunch of times, so I kind of know what to expect. So it wouldn't be too crazy, but it would definitely be crazy. Furnace Room is the best high-quality non-content. Yeah. Furnace Room's awesome. Bro, if you do Gunbuster or anything, you'll cry yourself straight up to death. I wouldn't be surprised. I consider myself a connoisseur of watching anime on acid. It feels like the show breaks the fourth wall and realizes you're watching it and subsequently fucks with you. Pretty insane. I can't do acid. I am way too paranoid of a person to ever do acid, I think. Like, I think I'm seeing things even when I'm sober. So, yeah, I don't think I can handle it. If you were the leader at a children's camp and your assignment was to wake up all the kids by playing music in the speaker system in the whole house, what music do you pick? I pick, you think he loves you for your money, but what he really loves you for is your leopard skin pillbox hat by Death Grips, which is a song that I have used as my alarm before, but it starts off with the sound of glass breaking and then a loud siren, and it's fucking terrifying. Especially when you're just waking up. So I think that would wake up anyone if you played it loud enough. Anywho, what inspires you musically? Mostly other music. I mean, just about all of the music I make has some level of inspiration from other musicians. Like, it's not always obvious, and since nobody listens to, like, all the same bands I do, you might not be able to tell, but, like, if you pointed to any of my songs and asked me, like, who do you think influenced this, I could probably point some people out. Lyrically, it's usually inspired by just whatever's happening in my personal life, like, whatever I'm thinking about or is going on, so, like, you know, the latest thing I did was Ain't Yo Shit, which was just about, like, that feeling of the stuff I'm making isn't necessarily for you, the audience, it's for me. That's, like, stuff I want to do. It was based on reaction to some video I did, I'm sure. And then, you know, the type of music it was inspired by the new Vince Staples album, Big Fish Theory, which is this rap album that uses, like, heavy, like, EDM instrumentals and shit in it, and it's really interesting, and it goes really fucking hard. So, like, the general rhythm of Ain't Yo Shit was sort of based on that, but then I also made it a noise thing, and the way I do noise is inspired by bands like Clipping and Death Grips, which is to just, like, have all kinds of different, like, sounds just kind of hanging in the background, and the actual song I sample in the background that's creating all the noise is from the movie Electric Dragon 80,000 Volts, so that's also an influence on it. So it's like just all these different things that I'm listening to and thinking about kind of coalesce into a song, and that's generally what, like, all of my music is like. Unless it's sometimes it's just me being inspired by someone else's beat. Like, if it's something like the songs on Gay and Dead, most of those, someone made a beat and then sent it to me, and then I tried to, like, you know, come up with lyrics that fit the tone of that beat. Which is why, for instance, songs like Freak Power and Gayer Than God are very different from the rest of the album, because, like, Blind Skywatcher just made those beats, and I just kind of rapped over them. So, like, I was trying to match the tone of the beat more so than coming up with my own shit. Though, in Gayer Than God's case, that was a song I had planned beforehand. Like, but then you get to, like, Nihilistic Suburban Void, which is a song where I really had the reins, and I was like, this is the concept of the song, this is the kind of lyrics that are going to be in there, like, you know, make it tonally like this, and let's have crazy beat change-ups and shit like that. So yeah, it depends on how the song comes together a lot of the time. I have no idea if all of that made sense. I feel like I was ranting like a monotone, and it felt like I was doing it for a very long time. My mouth is super fucking dry as a result of all the weed I smoked last night. So, apologies for being a high boy. Miki's stopwatch. Suppose you can make one change to a single AniTuber's channel to improve their content. Whose channel would you improve and how? One AniTuber. if I only get to pick one, I mean, the first one who springs to mind is Canepa, and I try to get him to fix his narrating voice. Like, stop screaming so fucking much. Turn down the music in your videos so you can just talk over it. And make them a little bit more accessible to people who have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Because his videos should be a bridge to get deeper into, like, Sakuga and creators, but too much of them assumes you already know a lot of shit, and also his voice is really intolerable. So yeah, that's how I'd fix Canepa. Have you watched Those Who Hunt Elves? Was his dank? I have not seen Those Who Hunt Elves. Heard of it forever, but I haven't. Best Satoshi Kon anime. Oh boy. Satoshi Kon, I still haven't seen Paprika, first of all. I think that's the only one I still haven't seen. All of his stuff is really fucking good, but it's funny because none of it's really, like, my aesthetic or, like, my like, thing, you know? I mean, I love psychology, so I love that aspect of all of his movies. But they're all, like, strong 8, light 9 types of movies for me. There's none that, like, reached me on such a personal level that it's like, oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, you know? Perfect Blue was great. Millennium Actress was fucking awesome. Tokyo Godfathers is fucking great. Paranoia Agent is fucking great. Magnetic Rose is fucking great. And I still haven't seen Paprika. So they're all equally fucking great. But none is like my favorite anime. Thanks for introducing me to clipping, by the way. No problem. Thank Clipping for introducing me to music. I really think Clipping's probably the biggest influence on my rap career. Like, both in that it kind of started it. Because if you go back to the BC album, which was the first, like, rap-centric album that I made, that was made when I was first getting into rap music, and the idea of, like, doing a cappella beats and, like, using random shit on my desk for samples and stuff was inspired by learning how Clipping makes their music. So, that kind of got the ball rolling for me, and it's still a lot of what I do. So, yeah, Clipping, very important. My 30 came up just in time. I don't know what that means. Also, your music broke my Spotify. If I use shuffle, it will only play your music. That's fucking awesome. You said you don't like media before the 90s. Does that apply to your music taste? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not that I don't like any media from before the 90s, but I do struggle a lot more with it. And the stuff I tend to like from before the 90s is stuff that is considered ahead of its time. Like, my favorite pre-90s music would be shit like King Crimson or Pink Floyd, like, prog rock bands and stuff that sounded like they were from another universe in the 70s, like they didn't sound like the other bands that were out at the time, I'm sure there's, like, some metal bands and shit I like from back then, but Black Sabbath, pretty cool. So, like, there is stuff I like from before the 90s, but it's, like, dwarfed by the amount of shit I like from my own lifetime, and, like, I have a soft spot for bad radio songs from the 90s and 2000s because I grew up with them, but I have no such soft spot for older or newer than the 90s and 2000s pop music. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, in general with media, I feel like they are usually getting closer and closer to something that is perfect for me, as opposed to farther away from it. Like, as we experiment more and we get more specific, because there's a lot of shit you couldn't do in the old days. Technology keeps improving and it keeps giving us new ways to make music, and those new techniques have given us the tools to make the kind of shit I want to hear that might not have existed before. Anyway, speaking of Magnetic Rose, what did you think about the other two films in that trio, Cannon Fodder and Stink Bomb? I had loved Stink Bomb. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I didn't get to watch Cannon Fodder because the time I watched it, I don't remember if I was watching it on the DVD I have or what, but it might have been the DVD, and it just started skipping at that, like, 5 minutes into Cannon Fodder. Like, the DVD just broke. So I never got to see the whole thing, because it was just not functioning. And this was like almost 10 years ago that I watched Memories, so, you know, I barely remember any of them. The album's sick. Thanks for getting me into various shit I'd otherwise overlook. No problem. That's my job. King Crimson isn't on Spotify. That's a war crime. Yeah, it's King Crimson shit is not easy to come by. They're pretty well protected. It's not on Spotify. It's not the easiest to find torrents of. I think I managed to torrent their shit, but it was not easy. They're a little bit like Prince. Their shit is well protected. Though I think Prince stuff is on Spotify. I'm not sure if that's only because he's dead now or if it was up there before, but by the album I meant Gay and Dead. Yeah, Gay and Dead's a good album. So what is the plan for Finish or Fail? Are you actually killing the series, or will it stay in this limbo where it feels kind of dead because you missed so much seasonal but you never officially ended it? I mean, this happened last year. Finish or Fail was not active for like 6 months of last year. It started really early into 2016, and then it would just kind of disappear for a long time and then come back. And it's also been running since 2009. Finish or Fail has literally been a thing since 2009. So it'll be back. It'll always be back because it's just a catch-all title for finishing shows that I'm supposed to be finished with. Are you going to be doing the dropping shows dartboard thing again as well? Possibly. See, I had planned to, when I was rebooting Finish or Fail last year, I had the whole dropped list thing with the darts, and then I was going to do that with my on hold list, because the original Finish or Fail on my old anime blog was about finishing shows that I'd left on hold. And when I first did it, I had narrowed my on hold list down to just 100 shows, like the 100 that I thought I really had to finish, and then I would select one and finish, or either finish or fail it, and then write a review of like why I dropped it or why, like how I felt completing it on my blog. So I probably did 10 or 15 of those. So I was going to do that again, and I actually wrote down my whole on hold list onto pieces of paper and stuck it up on the board, and then I threw a dart and I hit Sasami-san at Ganbaranai. And I watched the first 4 episodes and I loved it, and then I never finished it. So it was neither finished nor failed, it just stayed on hold. And I think it was because I had gone to like Otakon last year or something. Something came up in the middle of watching it and I never got back to it. So I just kind of scrapped the whole thing because obviously I couldn't even get it off the fucking ground in the first place. But if I brought back the dartboard thing, I'd probably do something like that, because picking up the dropped shows, I feel like there's probably some dropped shows I should give another shot to, but I feel like I know what they are. And the audience trying to tell me all these shows that they think I'm gonna like, it's like, oh, Jesus. I feel like I can more or less tell. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna like Phantom Requiem for the Phantom, because the show is too badly made. Like, whatever people see in it, they are not understanding my problems with it. They're not understanding, like, the depth and breadth of why I don't like the show. So, you know, there's definitely shows that I know I shouldn't try to watch again. And the ones that I should, like, the one that I did end up finishing was Vandred, and, like, Vandred was a show that's on my dropped list because I saw, like, 2 random episodes of it on Tech TV in 2003, you know, so, like, I've never really given the show a chance in the first place, so it did deserve that chance, and there's plenty of stuff on my dropped list like that I could see, like, maybe I'd make my own list and do a dartboard thing, but trying to do the ones that fans want me to, it's just too many people who don't really understand my taste or don't understand exactly why I dropped the show in the first place. So, yeah, and I mean, now I've done the whole why I dropped every show I dropped videos, so that definitely helps to sort them out a little bit. But as for Finish or Fail to do the on hold list, that could still very much happen. And Finish or Fail as a way to catch up with current season anime can also definitely happen. I have no idea if I'm going to try to blitzkrieg through all of the 2017 shows at the end of the year like I did last year. I might. It really depends. Because right now I'm in a weird state where I did every 2014 anime and then almost no 2015 anime. Then I did every 2016 anime and I've done very few 2017 anime. So I've got this weird imbalance, and like I've been planning to get back to 2015 for a while. Like after I finished the 2016 Finish or Fail, I was going to jump immediately into a 2015 one. And I actually did record bits for all like the short shows that I had knocked out. Like I had a bunch of footage for that. I ended up throwing it out because it took too long and I didn't end up getting back to it. So there was going to be Finish or Fail as 2015 shows again, which I did some of last year. But, you know, whether or not that happens now is completely up in the air because now I've got all this 2017 shit to catch up on. It's just a matter of, like, finding time and desire to do it. Like, I usually do them all in one burst. Like, I spend a week just watching a bunch of shows. And right now, I'm spending my weeks catching up on the Dick Show, playing video games with May, and, you know, trying to organize what the hell my next big series is going to be. Which, incidentally, May starts college in, like, next week. And when she starts college, I'm going to really be, like, here doing work all the time. And I'm going to try to launch some big stuff. I want to get some big stuff going. Do you plan to watch Shinsekai Yori like you said you would in your every anime I've ever dropped? Yeah, I think if I do another Your Anime Sucks, it might be on Shinsekai Yori, but it really depends on... I want to read the manga, and if the manga turns out to be good, then I'll definitely do it. And if the manga turns out to just be okay, I may or may not. But if I can do like a comparison of anime versus manga, that'd be really cool. And the manga is like literally pornography, so that is... I really want to read it for that reason. Anywho, catching up through the chat. Are there plans for a Digi and May watch in a similar vein to watching SAO with Victor series? I never thought about that. I mean, maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of doing live reactions to shows because A, it's impossible to get them up on YouTube, so they pretty much go straight to my Drive and straight to patrons, and even then they can be removed from Drive. I think the first 3 episodes of SAO2 got removed from my Drive because people keep asking me if I can re-upload them, which I don't know if I can. I haven't checked yet, but like... Yeah, like they're just way too volatile for the internet, and like you can do the ones like we did with SAO the Caliber arc where it's just like a video separate from the actual video, but I don't know, it's just like people talking over a show the whole time. It's real hard to pay attention to the actual show. I'd rather just do commentaries as opposed to like live watching. Opinion on the new YouTube logo. I haven't seen the logo yet. I literally just got the YouTube changes like seconds before going live. Like, 'cause they've been rolling it out slowly. I guess the logo looks basically the same as it did before. It seems like. But, yeah, the new, like, layout definitely gonna take some getting used to. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Do you think your patrons understand your taste? Probably. I feel like my patrons had their tastes have been like shaped by me so much that it's kind of hard. When it comes to my audience, there's not a whole lot of people in my audience who have like seen way more anime than I have and can recommend me something I haven't seen before. Like, because so many of my fans got deeper into anime as a result of my videos and my recommendations, I'm more used to people having just seen all the shit I've seen, as opposed to, like, having gone out and explored different stuff and brought it to me. And even then, I've seen so much that it's really hard to do that. Like, you'd have to be out there investigating 70s, 80s, and 90s shows, or, like, early 2000s shit, and, like, really deep diving to find some shit that I've never heard of that you could recommend me. But, so, like, I think that my fans probably do understand my taste, but because they share it and have been informed by it. The red thing next to the play button. What red thing next to the play button? I don't think I might not have the new logo. Let me Google it. New YouTube logo. I don't think I'm seeing it. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about with a red thing. The GMA Do is a great podcast series. Any plans for you guys to move it to a different channel? Not really into Let's Plays. Feel like the target audience is different for the rest of Digibros. It's the same thing as what Digibros has always been. Like, if you enjoy Digi and May Do, go listen to the rest of Digibros. It's all like that. It's always just been a podcast with a video game in it, including the Victor and Hope play ones. Like, that is literally what the whole channel is. And that's why, I mean, what you're describing is exactly why that channel hasn't grown, is because people think it's a Let's Play channel, and it's not. It's a show where we play video games and do a podcast at the same time. Which is like what, I don't know. I like that format a lot, but you know, people don't get it. I'm so glad college is starting soon. I've been off since April and with little work, so I'm getting fucking bored. Yeah, understandable. Can we get a music board in the Discord? I thought about it, because the only music I've really seen get discussed is my own, and I guess I haven't hung out in the general discussion enough to know what stuff is getting talked about heavily. Because, like, my general idea was to make boards for anything that was getting talked about, like, consistently in the chats. And, you know, and then, like, if it's kind of overpowering the rest of the discussion, it gets its own board. Like, anime talk seemed obvious because one of the reasons I made this Discord is that lots of people have requested me to make a community for Digibro fans to talk about anime because they don't like our anime and other places. So I figured, here you go. You can talk about anime in here and have your own little anime community. So music would be a good idea for that as well. I'm just not sure how many people are gonna discuss it or how much they want it. But maybe I'll make it just so I can discuss music in there. If I can share everything I'm listening to or something. If you had to have a quote-unquote real job, what would you do, gun to your head? Like, I get to choose anything regardless of qualification. I'd probably pick something that left me a lot of time to dick around on the computer. So I could keep writing videos while I do the job. I feel like I've had normal job, like, there's definitely jobs I think I could be good at, but I don't necessarily want to do. Like, I think I'd be a good human resources manager. I'm really good at organizing people, keeping their needs met, like understanding the situation that's going on. I'm good at taking charge. So there's a lot of like HR jobs I feel like I could do, but I wouldn't want to because I'm sure they're hell, just as all jobs are. Have you seen Yuri Seiji Naoko-san since you talked about the weird-ass old UFO table shows? I've seen it. I don't consider that a weird old UFO table show. That's kind of newer. I mean, it's more in the vein of the older stuff, but it's definitely much newer, and I don't, like... I watched it and didn't understand it at all. Like, I didn't get the joke. I thought it was really dumb and way, like, a waste of amazing animation. But when I talk about weird old UFO table shit, I'm like specifically referring to Coyote Ragtime Show, Futakoi Alternative, 2x2 equals Shinobu Den, Gaku and Utopia Manabi Straight. Pretty much just those. Oh, and Dokoida. Those 5. Those are the 5 old UFO table shows that are all like, that have a very distinctive like feeling and aesthetic that nothing else has. Vulture says, yeah, longtime fan of Digibros and Digi and May. Vic and Hope are fantastic. I agree. I've gotten way into the Vic and Hope play. I thought their first episode was weak because they didn't start the topics till like 20 minutes in. But once they started their written topics, I was like, this is very good. I listened to all of it while I was in my hotel at Crunchyroll Expo, and including the episodes that hadn't been released yet, and it was great. Have you ever cared for David Lynch, and has there been any anime that remind you of him aside from Boogie Pop Phantom? I've never thought about that comparison, but like definitely sonically I could see that comparison. Like, I guess something like Techno Lies is pretty fucking Lynchian in that it's like no dialogue and just weird noises and fucked up shit happening. What else is David Lynchy? I mean, it depends on what element of Lynch you're talking about, but yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a whole ton of David Lynch stuff. I've seen some of Twin Peaks. I've seen Eraserhead, which I thought was pretty cool, and like the very beginning of Blue Velvet, but I haven't seen like anything else. So I don't know the most about Lynch. I think he's cool from what I do know. I don't know if I'd say any anime particularly reminds me of him besides like Techno Lies and maybe some like Mamoru Oshii shit. Being in a creative writing class in college reminds me how much better you are as a writer than literally everyone I know. It's crazy what's deemed acceptable by colleges now. I know. What do you think your tastes or senses of aesthetics or whatever has affected other anime analysts on a massive scale? Do I think? I don't know on a mass scale. I feel like with anime YouTubers, a lot of them have this odd sense of like pride in their personal identity where they really try not to let other like reviewers affect them. I mean, I see this all the time with critics, like where there's critics who will say like I won't watch any other reviews before I do mine because I don't want them to like taint my opinion. And I find that fucking weird personally because I try to consume every other review before I write mine because I want to say something totally unique that nobody else has said already, and I want to make sure I completely understand my position and that like, you know, I'm writing from a place of knowing exactly what I'm talking about. So when I see critics who are like, "Oh, I'm really trying to like represent my perspective without consuming anyone else's," I'm like, "Why? What does that get us?" And that's why like someone who's big on that side is Yahtzee Croshaw, who, you know, as much as I love his videos and find them very entertaining, and he even can make some amazing points about game design, he's never on the cutting edge of the conversation because he, you know, goes out of his way to stay in his bubble and not like read other people's shit. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if my taste has affected other analysts and stuff on a massive scale. Obviously, it's affected Pedantic Romantic quite a bit, since his stuff is like exactly the same stuff as my stuff. And, you know, I'm sure there's people I'm sure a lot of, like, the reason so many people talk about K-On! Now has to do with me, you know, the general fandom of Yamada Naoko, though that also comes from, like, Sakuga blog and shit, so I don't know. Hard to say. Pretty sure it's a YouTube Red subscription thing. Sometimes I forget to pay for that. I'll throw an image up on the Discord. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely a YouTube Red thing. I don't have... that does not show up for me, I guess. If you want to... I also don't use mobile, like at all. If you want a taste of what general discussions are like, yesterday we got sidetracked from a talk about political ideology to instead talk about the value of blowjobs compared to just sex. Yeah, that sounds about right. I could get it on that discussion. Blowjobs are pretty cool. Futakoa Alternative did not click with me at all. One of the few shows you've recommended that I outright don't like. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fucking... It's weird. It's weird as shit, and it's not for everyone. Like, there's... That's, again, the thing about the old UFO table shows. As I mentioned in the panel I did at Crunchyroll, if any of you guys watched that, I bring it up on the subject of, like, shows that are difficult to talk about because it both isn't an amazing show and nobody cares about it. So, like, my recommendation would be watch this because it's really interesting and nothing else is like it, not because you're gonna love it or because you need to. You know, it's a weird kind of sell. It's basically for people who just want to see every unique idea out there at every different kind of execution. What about Manabe Straight's ending changed your life again? I remember you mentioning that a few times, but it's not that it changed my life. It's that it made me have a fucking emotional breakdown because I was going into 11th grade and trying to take on like a huge course load and become like a big schoolboy. And then Manabe at the end becomes a freeder, which means that she's just like doing random odd jobs and like it has nothing to do with what she learned in school. She's just going to go around and be like a random person. And she's like, why not? You know, why not do that? And I was so, like, that was, like, exactly how I felt I wanted to be was to just like leave. I just wanted to drop out of school and go do whatever, So it made me feel quite weak. How long is the beard staying this time? I'm not getting rid of the beard again. I've been trimming it. Like, you may have noticed it hasn't grown into a crazy hobo beard. It definitely would have by now. I've been cutting it every time it gets out of control. Basically, as soon as I start tasting my mustache, as soon as it starts getting in my food, which is getting close to that point, I trim it down a bit. But it is never leaving again, because I look terrible without a beard. Plans on watching the Death Note live-action film. Watched it tipsy, and it was a blast. Everyone's told me it's the worst movie ever made, so I don't think I'm going to watch it. Yeah, it's almost like those critics are literally blatantly stating how myopic their views are and how little they try to have a refined perspective. Yeah. If not watching the Death Note film, will you at least take in Mumkey's hilarious podcast about it? I haven't watched that yet, but I might. I tend to watch those, like, Is It Kino if I have, like, nothing to do and I need something in the background. Funny you mentioned K-On! Because it seems there's a community of people formed from your K-On! Videos that morphed into these discords that talk only about how much they don't like you now. It's weird as fuck. I don't know anything about that. Bizarre. What's your opinion on that Shibari rope thing? I haven't used it much. I haven't learned. It's difficult to use, so I haven't done much with it. You have to learn how to fucking do things. Anyway, I'm gonna turn back to the Discord. The Jones. He was just answering a couple of Laffer style questions. Laffer says, "We all know you're the gayest and deadest, but how gay and dead is May?" I don't know if I consider her very gay or dead. She's definitely anime gay. And maybe somewhat dead. But she's got a lot of energy. She's a high energy person. She's very Genki. I'm looking through. Digi, do you think you'd enjoy doing more content with Jeff? His Pope-like charisma next to your narcissistic genius is entertaining. Pope-like charisma. You guys seem to have a similar talking back and forth distribution as you and Nate. I don't want to work with Jeff because he fucks up the like, he's just so bad at running a project. He is like the worst fucking showrunner of all time. I mean, if anyone's listened to Weebcast with him in control, it's fucking unlistenable because there's no organization. He rambles about the most random shit and he talks really slowly. So if he gets off topic, you're gonna be there all fucking day. He doesn't try to wrap things up. He never tries to speed things along. He'll let it go as long as humanly possible. He fucks up the audio levels. He badly fucked up the audio of the last one I was on, the big drama one, and then wouldn't fix it. So yeah, I don't want to work with Jeff like ever again. I think he's really terrible to work with. Okay, that's all the ones that were in the Discord discussion. So now to move back over here. Where the fuck was I? So is Initial D worth watching? Not really. I mean, parts of it are. I'd say you could probably get away with like watching the movies or something. Like, there's a shitload of it, and the racing is really fucking fun. Like, when they're actually racing and it's blasting the Eurobeat music and shit, it's fucking great. But the, like, story bits in between the racing is, like, it's just really not that entertaining, in my opinion. Even Mumkey, who defended the Emoji Movie, said the Death Movie isn't even enjoyable to watch in a so bad it's good way. Yeah, that's what I'd been hearing. Weebcast is atrocious. People talk over each other, they scream, and the audio makes my ears bleed. Yeah, Weebcast is really bad. He fucked that up as badly as he could have. And it's all on Jeff. Like, you remember what it was like with me, and now you know what it's like with Jeff. I know how to run a podcast. He does not. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Jeff Thu. You mentioned you don't like Shinsekai Yori. Do you not care for the premise, the social commentary of the characters, or something more technical like visuals and pacing, or do you hate the whole thing? Everything. Mostly technical stuff. I really hate the visuals. I really hate the pacing. I really hate the dialogue. Nothing about it interests me or grabbed me. I've only seen 4 episodes, mind you, so I haven't seen where the show supposedly gets good, which is why I have to watch the whole thing before I even consider talking about it. But God, I really hated the first 4 episodes of that show, more than most. Do you listen to Neo Taku or the Wave Motion podcast? I feel kind of bad for the Wave Motion podcast because they get 8 views per episode. I have not. I've watched the first few Neo Takus. I wasn't. They're just they act like such children, I feel like the discussion is fine, but it's just that they're also eager to meme and be I don't know, they act like teenagers, and it's hard for me to listen to. But Wave Motion podcast, I've just never listened to any of it aside from the one that I was on. Why'd you give Honey Mize a 6, by the way? It was an alright movie. I didn't feel... It felt like it went on for a fucking eternity, and not every scene was all that interesting. Some of it was, but not all. Opinion on IKEA? I've never been there. Actually, never been there. What would you consider the best directed anime you've seen? Probably Eva. Particularly the early episodes. Every shot is just composed so fucking beautifully in Evangelion. And a lot of the times, just the framing of the shot has a deep meaning. There's shows with flashier directing. There's other shows that are directed really well, but in a less noticeable way. Ava's got that perfect combination of it's not in your face with its directing, and yet every single shot looks incredible. And I think that's a special power that Ano has. I mean, second place would also go to His and Her Circumstances. Almost tied. Totally different style that he brought to that one, but equally powerful. Hideaki Anno is just fucking... He's just pretty god tier as a director. Him and Imaishi, the two of them, unstoppable. Unstoppable fucking talents. Did you... The first 4 episodes are a 1. It picks up slightly later, but it never breaks average. About Shinsekai Yori, I'm assuming. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see it just because so many people talk about it. Which podcast do you listen to? Pretty much just The Dick Show. If we're counting YouTube video cast-y things, I watch all the Red Letter Media videos, so those are kind of like podcasts. I have paid attention to Is It Kino from Mumkey occasionally. The only the only hardline podcast I really keep up with is The Dick Show, and I actually watch the videos of it, because if you're a patron, you get the video version, and I think it's wildly better than just listening to the audio. So, I mean, I don't watch it. I have it on another screen while I play video games, but it's worth having the video. But yeah, I'm all about The Dick Show. And that takes up so much of my fucking time that you can't even follow another podcast anyway. So the episodes are usually 2 or 3 hours fucking long. Haven't watched a Weebcast since the Halloween class. Glad to hear I haven't missed much. Yeah, I mean, that one was bad too. But, because ever since Jeff took over, I've made a point, the couple I've been on, I refuse to take control. Because normally when I'm in a podcast, I just kind of naturally take control of it, because I, can kind of sense when we're dipping in the conversation and when we should move on to the next thing and stuff like that. But when I'm on Jeff's show, I'll just lean back in my chair and be like, let's see how you do it, Jeff. Let's see how it's done in Jeff Town. And it's always a nightmare. Okay. You reading or listening to any books / audiobooks other than manga, I assume? No, I'm not. There's nothing I've read recently enough to say I'm reading it. So, no. Top 3 things you liked doing or experiencing at CRX. I'm surprised it took us this long to get to a CRX question. Okay, so my Crunchyroll Expo experience was basically thus. On Thursday, Thursday afternoon, I flew in, right? Which was like, I left at like 5 p.m., got there at like 11, so, because I was going back in time, so, like, I could, got 3 hours back. And, yeah, I just kind of flew in, went to bed. Friday, I came into the con. The con hadn't started yet. Nothing was really going on. So it was just like me hanging out with other YouTubers. Like in the lobby of the hotel, I'd met Freddie W. and Canepa, so that was cool. Then once I got to the con, Canepa and Giguk were just kind of standing around, and like we were just asking, like none of us knew what me and Giguk's argument panel was going to be. So we were all like discussing what that should be, because Canepa was going to moderate it. So then, I mean, he did moderate it. So I hung out with them for a little bit. Then I just kind of wandered around the convention center for a while. I watched Freddie W. interact with fans on a bench for a while. I ate some food, walked around, run into Miles, the Crunchyroll, the sort of face of Crunchyroll, if you will. And I talked to Miles and asked him, like, what the hell is our panel supposed to be about? And he was like, yeah, just get up there and, like, fight about your differences of opinion. And he seemed to want it to be vicious. So I was like, okay. So I go back over to Canepa and Giguk. I find them again. We're talking about it some more. Canepa and his friends fuck off, and Giguk's like, I need a cigarette. And I'm like, oh, you smoke. You're the only other anime YouTuber who smokes. Let's go have a cigarette. So we go have a cigarette, and then he's like, I think I'm going to need a beer for this. And I'm like, hey, this is my guy. So we go down to the Hyatt Hotel, and we literally sit there and drink beer for like 3.5 hours. Like, we just sat there drinking and discussing YouTube for like 3 hours. Me and old Giguk. And taking hilarious selfies and posting them on Twitter. So then he remembered he had to do his lightning round. So we ran up. I watched him do his lightning round. We hung out a little more. And then we got another beer. Then we came back and did our panel. So it was the me and Giguk argument panel. It went really well. Then we were greeted by a guy from Bandai Namco, who took a picture with us and gave us some free Xenoverse 2 download codes. And then from there, I did my panel, which someone gave me a beer at the start of, and so by the end of my panel, I was fucking drunk. So then I just wandered around in the green room for like 45 minutes, trying to become sober enough to like handle life again. Walked around the con brazenly drinking an open beer, which was great. Then there was the last panel, the anime and YouTube one, which I've posted up on Digibro After Dark, and that's when Jeff and Arcata showed up. Immediately after that panel, Miles comes to get us to take us to the big party, which he didn't. He just took like me, Canepa, and Jeff, and a few other people who were with him. And we all went down to this gamer bar for this after party, which has an open bar, open food. It was pretty cool. So at first I'm hanging out there for like probably 30-40 minutes, not really talking to anybody because I don't know anybody back there, and just kind of getting drunk. So I implore them to make sure that Giguk makes it to this party. Like, I'm telling Miles and the other guy, like, Giguk's not going to know how to get here. You got to get him here. So they managed to contact him. He comes over, and I'm like, let's all discuss this thing. So there's a big secret thing that the anime YouTube community is planning to do that I have not been a part of until this moment, that, like, no one invited me to discuss. Jeff apparently thought he had invited me, but he didn't. So there's a big thing the anime YouTubers are planning that happens to coincide with something that Crunchyroll is planning, so we wanted to discuss the possibility of combining the two things. And Miles was way into that idea. So I was like, let's sit everybody down and discuss this big idea. So we gather all the anime YouTubers, and it takes a while for us to all gather at this party. And during this time, me and Canepa start talking to this dude who's an animator for Ruby, who's a big fan of both of us, and is like a hardcore Sakuga nerd. And we're talking to this guy for a while. He was the coolest dude ever. He was this pink-haired guy. I followed him on Twitter. I think I mentioned him as like my number one coolest person I met, because he was just super real and shit, and was talking about animators, and it was really fun. And then I also talked to these 3 Korean dudes who are doing like some kind of startup where they're trying to fix exactly the problems I was talking about in my streaming video and like find ways to like hook studios up with Patreons and like find new payment models and stuff like that. So that was exciting. So I met these dudes, and then finally we organized everybody into a group to discuss this big Crunchyroll and anime YouTube thing. And it goes on for a while, lots of interesting conclusions are reached, and then we all like got it because like they were kicking us out of the place. It was midnight, and that was the end of the bar. And then Freddie W shows up, and we all play this. There was like this 5-on-5 game called Killer Queen. That's like an arcade only game. And Freddie was like way into it. He was just like, "Everybody, we gotta play this game." And we're like, "Okay." So we play this game, and then we're out on the street, and Miles is leading me and all the other anime YouTubers, and we're all like, "Next bar, next bar." So first he takes us to this cool Mexican restaurant. We have some pretty choice Mexican food. Then we end up going around. We go to another bar. We were all pretty fucked up. And then finally, we go home. So it was basically a night of just drinking with anime YouTubers, wheeling and dealing, learning all this industry insider shit that no one should have ever told me about, because I am definitely going to end up revealing all of it to the world. Though I'm avoiding it right now because I don't want to get kicked out of this stuff before I have a chance to see where it's going. Like, I want to get as much behind the scenes information as I can before I start getting myself kicked out of the discussions. But in any case, we were, so by the end of the night, I was shit-faced. Like, when I got back to my hotel, I was, like, fucking beyond gone, like, world is spinning, feeling. So, the next day, Saturday, I was hungover as fuck. And all I had to, like, the only requirements I had at the con that day were to do an autograph signing at 1, and then a lightning round at 2:15. So I showed up to the con, hung out in the green room for, like, an hour and a half, did my autographs, did the lightning round, and fucked off back to the hotel and stayed there all night. And then Sunday, I spent the entire day flying from San Jose to fucking Rochester. So basically, I had one day of activity where I hung out with all these anime YouTubers and got drunk and learned industry insider secrets. And that was the cool part. And that was all really cool. It was really fun to do, but I don't know if it was worth it, considering that other than that, it was a day and a half of nonstop plane shit, which fucking sucks. I hate flying. I hate being up in the air because I don't want to do anything. I get a headache. I can't sleep. So I just fucking sit there and stare into space. And it fucking blows. And then a whole day of being, like, catastrophically hungover. So the top 3 things I liked doing or experiencing at CRX would be drinking with Gigak, drinking with everybody else in the group, the whole anime YouTuber group, and, you know, learning industry insider secrets. Okay, continuing. Opinion on Total Biscuit. Have you seen his stuff? There was a brief period where I was subbed to Total Biscuit, but he puts out way too much shit, and it's not that interesting, you know? Like, it's just not... It's same as how I feel about the Jimquisition. Like, both of them are people who... I kind of like their stuff, but it's not interesting enough to justify the amount of time that you spend on it. Like, every episode of Jimquisition is just so fucking rambling. Is there a public figure or intellectual you would be interested in seeing their encounter with Evangelion and reaction? I don't know. I feel like most have seen it, so not really. I don't know any public figures who haven't seen Ava. Who did you spend time with at CRX? Well, as I said, just the anime YouTubers, mostly Gigak. In the time that I wasn't hanging out with them, I was pretty much just by myself. I didn't, like, hang out with anybody else. But the time I hung out, like, when we were going to the party, it was, like, me, Miles, and Jeff, and I ragged on Jeff incessantly the whole time, and it was really funny. Oh, and his girlfriend was there, and that was fucking weird. So I really wonder how you would explain being a good thing in romance. Hold on, so what are you talking about? Oh, with Bakuman. You ruined it that the romance feels incredibly forced and stupid with how they force themselves to not be together. It's cringe for us, so I wonder how you'd explain it being a good thing, the romance plot specifically, since you hold it in such high regard. I like it. I don't think it's forced. I think it's cool. I don't know. I know a lot of people who think no one would ever do this or that it's really retarded, but I know people who would do that. Like, that would have been Victor if he had been in that situation. You know, like, he's that kind of guy. It wasn't weird to me. I mean, it's pushed to an extreme, but so is everything else in the manga. So, you know, I like it. I like that kind of dumb, mushy shit. Digibro is actually a spy working for the greater good of anime fans, spying on the Crunchyroll and AniTube Elite. I love it. That's exactly how I felt, dude, because, like, people joke about how, like, Jeff is, like, in bed with Crunchyroll and stuff, and how, like, there's a conflict of interest when he makes videos, like the one he just did on, what is it called? Kiss Anime. Those people don't realize how right they are. Like, Jeff is literally deep in bed with Crunchyroll. Like, he is friends with Miles. He works with him. They were, like, colluding on shit, you know? Like, it was deep tier shit that I was witnessing. I literally watched anime Watergate unfold before me at one point, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is too much. And fucking Jeff talking about, oh god, there's a moment where Jeff's talking about his SEO guy, and at first I thought he said SAO guy, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean you're SAO guy? And he's like, no, my SEO guy. And I said, what the hell's an SEO guy? And this is where Miles goes, you don't know what that is? Don't you do this professionally? And I was like, motherfucker, I just post funny videos on the internet. That's what YouTubing is to me. You make a funny video and you post it online and people like it, so they give you money. Jeff hires for $600 a month a search engine optimization professional, someone who helps him to, like, know what stuff is being talked about, what, like, thumbnails and titles to use, like, what's gonna optimize his fucking search results. And he's like, oh, you know, it pays for itself. I'm like, no, I can just observe and make those decisions myself. Why do you need an SEO guy? That's fucking too much for me. Too high level for me. Jeff is in a total... He's a very different kind of YouTuber from myself. Deals with everybody. Fucking deals coming out the ass. He's got NDAs coming out the ass. I couldn't do it, man. I would not survive that. Oh, man. Just download anime on, like, a laptop or an iPad or something and watch it on the plane. I can't ever watch stuff on a plane. I don't want to do anything on a plane. I hate being on a plane. It just gives me a headache and everything sucks. And I hate other people being able to see what I'm looking at. It's fucking... Veggie is the hero we need, but not the one we deserve. What is the best soda? Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is easily my favorite. You can Jeff drink it all fucking day. Jeff made that Kiss Anime video to spite you. How did no one mention that? I don't know if it was to spite me. He, like... Oh, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know to what extent it might be, but he wanted to do a podcast with me about this. Like, after my video, he was like, we should do a podcast on anime streaming, and I said, no, because I don't want to do a podcast with you, and he was like, maybe I'll do a video in response, and I said, you better make sure you thoroughly understand what I was talking about in my video before you do that, you know. But then he separately also wanted to talk about Kiss Anime's finances, so, you know, he did not make his actual response to me. He made something to the side of it, but yeah, he's colluding with Crunchyroll really hard on that shit. Jeff has become a meme in the Discord. It's always fun to shit on him. Yeah, no, he's a meme in my personal life. I shit on him literally constantly. Because May found me through Jeff. So, like, May was watching his videos, and she really liked What's in an OP. Then she watched Erased and hated it. So she watched the Great Erased debate and came out on my side, and, like, had seen me on, like, a Weebcast here and there. So she started following me, and then as Jeff's stuff went to shit, she started shitting on him. And so, like, for me and her, we just make fun of Jeff constantly, and it's really funny. And I've made it clear to Jeff that I hate him now. I've made sure he understands that. Do you watch Fantano's side channels? If so, thoughts on it? I do. That is the Plan is a fucking great channel. His new one that's just called Fantano. I like it, but the videos are way longer than they need to be, because he usually makes his point like basically in the title or in like a couple sentences, and then he repeats himself ad nauseum for 9 minutes. So those ones are a little harder to watch, but yeah. Yeah, the SEO thing, like, I mean, he considers that normal. Like, that's the thing. Jeff just thinks of YouTube in a very different way from me, because he's all like, he's from a background of like games journalism and working for like major companies and stuff. Like, to him, it's normal to have all these endorsement deals, to have all this like backroom stuff going on, to have like all that shit. And like, for me, the point of YouTube is not having to deal with that shit. The point of YouTube is that I just make funny videos and people pay me to do it, you know? Like, that's the whole, like, that's why I want this, is so I don't have to sign a bunch of NDAs, and I don't have to, like, fake liking a bunch of pretend I like Naruto online like a fucking asshole. Which, I mean, he's convinced that he actually does, but, you know, man lies to himself. Are you going to release this live stream for patrons? All of the live streams are left up on, like, if you just go back to the video that's linked on the Patreon page, it's always there. So, anyone who's on this patron tier can go back and watch it anytime. Everybody just reacting to Jeff. What do you think about the Kiss anime video he made? I have not seen it yet. People being able to see what you're watching is especially weird in the case of fucking Doremi. Yeah, that's I would not be able to watch that on a plane. Right next to like an old man. Since Pokemon games are moving to the Switch after the next entries, what? I didn't know that, but that sounds amazing. I mean, I already in many ways got what I wanted from X and Y onwards, because like when I was a kid, I never understood why they wouldn't make a full Pokemon RPG on a console. Like, that's all I wanted, was a full 3D Pokemon game. That's what I thought Stadium was going to be, and then I was hugely disappointed. That's what I thought Coliseum was going to be, and then I was hugely disappointed. And it wasn't until X and Y that we finally got a full 3D Pokemon game. And like, as exciting as that was, the world still felt way too small. Like, it felt like they built it for 2D and then put it in 3D, and it didn't make sense. Sun and Moon did a much better job of that, of feeling more open and sprawling. But like, if they're putting it on the Switch, this better feel like a fucking Zelda world, you know? It better feel big and real, like a fully realized world, as opposed to like a grid-based thing, like, you know, the classic games. So that's what I would want. Video didn't seem like an attack on you, really just seemed like some SEO optimized content. Yeah. Thoughts on Explanation Point? I think he's interesting. I haven't seen I haven't seen like all of his stuff yet. I watched a few and they were kind of cool. I've heard that he doesn't know like that much about anime. Like, he's not like a long-time viewer. He hasn't seen a whole ton of shows. So I don't know how long he can carry for, but he's already established he can talk about stuff that's not anime as well. I really like his narrative of like trying to beat all the other anime YouTubers in sub counts. I think that's really cool. And I would love to be a villain in his narrative. Like, I'd love to join it and be a big bad or something. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah. He's kind of cool. Sorry I sounded so distracted. Mumkey's texting me about the Tonight's Insufferable social media recording, so I was replying to him. Jesus Christ. It just seems like having all these financial connections kills creativity and stagnates your content. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, some people can find life in that. I feel like I like having limitations sometimes when it like gives me Like, for instance, I like writing short stories based on a one-word thing. Like, something like that, where someone gives you a word and you have to write a story based on that word. Like, that kind of stuff can be fun because it gives you a chance to just, like, explore this idea without having to come up with something out of the ether. I could see Jeff being someone who likes to do that. His SEO tells him, here's the show you need to talk about, and he goes, okay, let me figure out how to make that fun for me, you know? So I'm sure he's having a great time making his videos, but I find them insufferable. Have a good day, Wyatt Walsh. Best OST in a recent anime you can think of on the spot? Made in Abyss. I really want the Made in Abyss OST. It is fucking fantastic. Though it hasn't stood out as much in those last few episodes, which were all around not as good episodes. Like, I don't remember any, like, songs that really jumped out at me the way the shit in the first couple episodes did. Like, that song that plays in episode 1, like, in place of the OP is fucking, incredible. I really hoped that was the actual OP of the show, and I was disappointed when it was not. I think Mother's Basement has gone downhill and isn't coming up again. The reason he's not coming up again is that he doesn't think he's gone downhill. Like, in his mind, he's doing fine, and since his view counts are doing fine, and his Patreon's doing fine, he's not wrong. He's doing fine. I think he's tapped into much more of a normie, broad audience, you know? I think because he's, again, doing search engine optimization, he's talking about only stuff that's, like, relevant and popular. He's always going to get the views, and he's always going to have an audience. But I don't know how deeply his audience will love him, you know? But if it's big enough, then that's another way to do it. What are your thoughts on turning old but keeping your current job? You kind of are the first generation of your job, so what do you think an old YouTuber like you would be like? Think 50 plus years old. Man, I don't know, because what I think is going to happen is changes in platform and technology. Like, I'm not the first generation. I'm definitely Gen 2, because you've got, like, AVGN and Nostalgia Critic. That's Gen 1. And those guys are still around, and they still evolve their content, you know. AVGN stuff has changed considerably. Like, I mean, he still does the AVGN videos, but he also does these really good vlogs and unscripted content now. And I'll probably keep evolving and keep being around, you know, as long as I have an audience. And I think I probably need to, like, right now, before I get old, grow my audience considerably so that I can whittle it down to, 'cause, like, right now I feel like I'm already engaging a somewhat whittled down audience. Like, I got up to the 300K on the strength of some popular videos, but I'm mostly appealing to a much smaller segment of the audience. If I got up to 1 million on the strength of some popular videos and then whittled it down to just the people who really care, that'll be more people who really care, because more people have found me, assumably. So, you know, yeah, like, I should probably do something like that, but I think I'll always have some audience. You know, people are going to filter in and out, but there's people I've followed for 10 years. I still follow Yahtzee Croshaw after 10 fucking years. That's fucking weird to think about. But yeah, like, and I'll probably do a lot more different types of projects as time goes on. Like, I think if we're talking 10 years from now, I'm not going to be doing anime analysis, but I will be doing the same kinds of vlogs and, like, podcasts I'm doing now, but I'll also be doing something like probably, I don't know, writing a book or producing bigger albums. Maybe I'll be signed to a record label, who knows? You know, like, I'm sure other ventures will be my, like, main creative thing as opposed to anime analysis videos, but, like, the side content will probably stay relatively similar. So we'll see. Speaking of OSTs, this season's Princess Principal OST is done by Yuki Kajiura. Cool. I mean, most of her soundtracks sound exactly the same, so I'd have to see it to know if it's any different. Since you have no intentions on this being a job for while you are young only. Yeah, no, I plan to do this as long as I can, as long as it's still sustainable. And I can't see myself ever, like, not having this type of job. Like, a lot of the anime YouTubers like get jobs tangentially related, like Crunchyroll jobs. Like Keiko Cat works for Crunchyroll now. Like she made a couple videos, Miles found her and liked her shit and hired her for Crunchyroll, and she can do like backroom stuff because she's educated. So like, you know, there's people, or Canepa Effect, who he just like found his videos and liked them and brought him on as a guy. I could do something like that, you know, if I had to, but because I don't have to, I try to avoid those kinds of offers. Gotta make an expose on anime Watergate. I'd have to get deeper into it. I'd have to know more. I only know basic surface level shit about it, but, you know, that particular exchange, I don't know if I'll ever know more about. Like, the stuff I'm trying not to talk about because I don't want to be kicked off the discussion is more shit related to this thing that anime YouTubers and Crunchyroll are going to be doing in collaboration. The stuff that I saw that I considered anime Watergate, I don't want to share because I don't want to exacerbate the situation for anybody involved. But basically it involved Jeff and Miles and some kind of like plot to destroy Kiss Anime from the inside or something. It was fucking weird. Where do you think people find you these days? Just saying, because I found you by watching your old 10 anime you can watch right now videos and then diving deep, and that seems rarer. That was in mid-2016, by the way. I think most people find me because I show up in the sidebar of anime videos. Like, people either find me because I collaborated with their favorite YouTuber, or I show up on the sidebar of their favorite YouTuber, or like they stumble upon me on Reddit or something. Like, it's usually they get in through one of the big videos and then they kind of trickle into the other stuff. But I don't know. I haven't provided a lot of good entry points lately. I feel like most people who are following me right now have been following me for a while, and I haven't been gaining like a ton of new people into the fold. So, you know, I should be doing that. Can I at least say when the big collab will be? Like what month? So I don't wait in vain each month. The big collab between Crunchyroll and anime YouTubers next year. Like this is a fucking... We're talking about a potentially televised event. So that's what I'm going to say. That's the extent of this. We're talking about like a big fucking deal that might happen. Yeah, so I found you by my high school friend who loved K-On! And constantly referred to your loving thesis. Cool guy. How come you're the one who became the patron and not him? Is he around? You just he liked the thoughts on K-On!, but you had the deeper appreciation. Opinion on Anne of Green Gables. I haven't seen it yet. I feel like there's only 2 people left in here. Is anybody else still around? Are we still... There's only 9 people watching. I've run out of questions. I found you that massive recommendation one. Yeah, that's a cool video. I can't believe how many fucking views that video has for being as long as it is. Everybody, I'm just reading people telling me how much they like Digi and May on the Discord chat now, and I'm like, yes. Okay, now I'm turning back to you guys' discussion, so I can. It looks like you guys asked some questions for me. All my anime friends refuse to get into Anitubers because they are big A guys and hate personalities. I don't understand that mindset at all. That's the one thing about A I really don't get. Like, I understand wanting to keep them off the board because it sidetracks the discussion from anime, but like, why? Why be that way? And also, fucking, your friends are drones if they just, like, toe the fucking A party line. He stopped watching anime while I got sucked in by your honey-like voice. Beautiful. Goals for the next year. Oh, boy. Oh, you asked that at a slightly too early point because I'm finally in a place to really, really start thinking about that. Because Crunchyroll Expo was the last thing I had to do this year. Like, this whole last few months has been, like, from the beginning, before I started my travels, it was all based around Anime Expo and Crunchyroll Expo. It was like these two big cons I have to go to. I'm contractually obligated to go to. How am I going to travel in the time surrounding these conventions? So I had the whole travel that was based around Anime Expo, came back, ended up deciding to move house, moved up here, spent the last month getting situated and all that, and then had to fly back out to Crunchyroll Expo. And now that that's over and May's about to start college, then we're really starting the grind of like, okay, this next, until May, like the month of May, that's when we're leaving, because we're only in Rochester till May, and then we're going to move probably to Atlanta, possibly to somewhere else. We're not sure yet, but probably going to move to Atlanta, because we don't want to be here for too very long. It's not the most exciting town. And May wants me to take her away. So, like, we're going to leave. So in that 8 or 9 months, however long that is, I have all the time in the world to figure out, like, what is the plan for this coming time. And I've got a lot of ideas. I've got some really big video projects ideas. I've got some big podcast project ideas. I kind of want to rejuvenate everything and almost like start fresh in a way, like start up new shows and have more thorough ideas for like long running shit. And I want to have more backlog. I love having backlog. That's always a good thing because it leaves me more open to work on longer shit in the background. So plans for the next year, not decided yet, but this is now the time where I'm working on it, and like that's going to be my focus throughout. Probably most of September is going to be like setting up everything that's going to happen in the near future. Where am I? Where the fuck? Okay. Here since the pony days, you're the one that got me into anime. Hey! So what is the future of the PCP looking like right now? I don't really know. Like, I don't participate in the PCP that much. I'm not super interested. It's mostly been about, like, basically ever since we introduced the Patreon, people want to be on so that they can make some money off of it, and it's run much more business-like now. And I just don't have time. Like, I'm working on too many other projects. I don't really have time to put aside for this podcast that's usually random discussions, and that most, usually has a crowd anyways. So, and it's kind of, to some extent, it's been, like, iffy on, like, who wants to continue. Like, Jesse is pretty much gone. Jesse is not going to do it anymore. So, Jesse's probably not going to be in anymore. Devu's trying to be in more. Personally, I just kind of show up when there's a topic I'm interested in and I have the time. So, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know exactly, but if you mean the future of us all moving in together, hopefully still good. Like, hopefully we're still all going to end up in the same kind of place, because regardless of the Procrastinators podcast, I still want to work with those guys. And me and Hippo have been talking about possibly starting a podcast together, because I guess he wants a new podcast to be on. What's the weirdest stuff you found on A? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sure there's something incredibly weird I found. Any plans to introduce May into more series? She's got a good YouTube voice. Yeah. Oh, you mean into more of my own series? Possibly. She's planning to make analysis videos. Like, she has her first idea all lined up. She's planning to do it. Like, she wanted to do that even before we got together as a way of seducing me by becoming a great anime YouTuber. But she's going to try to do that anyways. So look forward to May's first analysis video. She's probably going to make her own channel, or just like use the one that she currently uses and like for comments. I have no idea. But yeah, she plans to make proper anime analysis videos. Her first one is going to be about, without spoiling too much, It's going to be about Elfenlied and Chobits. So that'll be really interesting. When are you going to cover the shows that you talked about in the Old Ass Anime Cast? Very soon. My next written video is about Manabi Strait to some extent. It's sort of... The next video is sort of re-exploring something that I said about both... Like, a discussion I was having in the Manabi Strait video and the Hidamari sketch one. Or the Moe one, rather. Like, some of the stuff I talked about in the Old Ass Anime Cast has been sort of recontextualized, and it's going to be my next video, which Devu is currently working on. All my friends are the kind that just don't think that art can be deep, and even when you show them like clear evidence and examples, they just reject it. It makes me sad. There was a great discussion about that in one of the recent Victor and Hope Let's Plays. It's, I think, episode 5. Either 5 or 6, they were talking about their trip to Otakon and how they saw this movie that's like got all this deep symbolism and stuff, but like with very clear meaning. Like you can easily tell what it's all metaphors for, but the people who they watched it with were insisting that it was just, whoa, it was so weird, dude. It made no sense. And Victor and Hope like literally explained it to them, and they still were like, no, you're reading too deep into it. And they're like, no, it's obvious. The metaphors are obvious, you fucking retards. So yeah, that was entertaining. Yeah, Digi and May is great, and she seems like she would be great in other videos. Yeah, I think so too. Which shows are going to make a return? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll find out. Hopefully, I don't ever consider a show dead unless I say it's dead. So if I've never said the show's dead, it's still going. It'll go for 10 years for all I know. Would you ever do some more deep dive gonzo journalism thing, like investigating something deep and exposing it all in some grand documentary? Maybe the anime Watergate is a good start. There's not enough to say about it. It's just basically what anime Watergate is that someone from Kiss Anime leaked some information to Jeff, and Jeff was passing that information along to Miles. And this is information that they could possibly use to I don't know, get into the Kiss Anime, like, backroom discussions or something. So, like, basically they're, like, it was kind of like a doxing of Kiss Anime happening in front of my eyes. And that's what I'm referring to as Anime Watergate. So there's not too much to say about it. It was just kind of a weird situation to be in, to like see this, like stuff that I would never be involved with happening right in front of my face. Moved to Toronto. It's a pretty good time here. I don't know about going to Canada. I'd rather go somewhere where my friends are. Toronto is where, like, Arcada lives there, I think. Any games you want to play? Yes. Many, hundreds, in fact. I've lists upon lists of games I want to play. And now that we're doing Digi and May, I might actually get to play them. Because I get to play the video games on this show, which I didn't get to do on Digibros ever. So, yeah. Would you ever go to Europe, like visit Hypocrite and have a panel in his garden? I'd fly from Sweden to see it, totes. I would definitely love to go to Europe and see Hippo. Maybe I should look into like European anime conventions and see if I can like organize a trip there that way. What if I could get one of them to fucking invite me? I never even considered that. What if I could get invited to a European con and have them pay for my ticket? That'd be fucking dope. I don't know if they would. I hate Elfenlied and Chobits in my top 5 hated anime. That's it's not that she likes them. That has nothing to do with the analysis. I don't think she's like a fan of either show at all. But is there any reason I should give them another chance? No. What is your life narrative? What, like the whole thing? Well, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I'm not gonna tell my whole life story out of the blue. I'm sure I've done videos even about it. I heard that discussion on Vic and Hope, and it just reminded me of my friends talking about Gurren Lagann, and I get mad whenever it comes up. They just don't get it, and I don't know how. I know Gurren Lagann's one of those. It's one of those shows. super obvious depth, super missed by the audience. Well, Kiss Anime is a big one, and I don't know if they're trying to fuck with Kiss Anime so much as just like trying to get information about it, and like, you know, I mean, Kiss Anime is probably by far the biggest illegal anime streaming site. So, Narcon, it's the greatest anime con. It's in Linkoping. I don't know how to pronounce any of that stuff you just wrote, or where Linkoping is. Lycopene. You talked before about thinking about if you wanted to be the smaller or bigger girl in a lesbian sex situation, but now that you have May, do you have an answer on the best girl to be in a lesbian... To be lesbian her? To be lesbian her? So what kind of girl I would want to be if I was a lesbian for May? Probably exactly the same as I am currently. Me and May are the exact same height, but our proportions are different. So we kind of lock together perfectly. You know what I mean? Like we're just the right shape to match each other. So probably keep it that way. I will enjoy sharing and validating my hate with May then. Yeah. You'll enjoy it. I mean, her video is not so much like about whether the shows are good or bad. It's more about comparing the elements of them. I don't want to say too much because she was like... Because we talked about it on the Kirby Let's Play that we lost, and then she said we shouldn't talk about it again because she doesn't want anybody to steal the idea before she can do it. Because she doesn't know how long it'll take. Just got done watching Gurren Lagann, and it was a pretty great time. Hey, I agree. Great show. One of my favorites. I've run out the chat, so if anybody has anything else you want to ask, get it in now. And we'll probably wrap this up afterwards, since things are slowing down up in this piece. Not going to say much, but here's the script. I didn't say much. I didn't say that much. Would you ever rap collab with Nino again? White Nigga is still a top tier song for me. I did. I was on his song, like the opening track from Breakfast with Weeaboos. I think it's just called Breakfast. And he posted a version of it on SoundCloud, but when I listened to it, my verse was delivered so badly that I felt I have to redo it. But it's still up there, I think. And I should redo it before his album comes out, which will probably never actually happen. But, yeah. Do you plan to read more manga in the future? I'm always reading manga. I am constantly buying and reading manga. It's basically the only like thing I buy still. Like I mostly spend my money on food, like rent, stuff that's, you know, like continues my existence. But the only like physical thing I still spend money on is manga. And I read it while I'm shitting, so, you know, and then I review it on Manga Mondays. So Manga Mondays will go for 1,000 years. Do you ever watch Sai's video on Sora no Toshimono? Yeah, I watched the first one, and he was running like parts of the script by me and stuff. Like I was helping Sai with the creation of that. And I thought the first part was pretty okay. I never got around to watching the other ones. Because the first one, it didn't quite, like, sell me on anything. Like, it didn't make me think the show was good. So, like, while it was kind of interesting, it didn't quite go all the way on what I felt it was trying to do. Have you seen Hunt for the Wilder People? No, I've never heard of that. Do you have Terry Folds? I don't know what that is either. Oyasumi Pun Pun. Will I ever cover it? Probably. Played any of the Witcher games? No. I bought The Witcher 3, but I have not played it yet. Get Monkey to read Oyasumi Pun Pun. It's tailored for him. I bet he would like that a lot. I'd highly recommend Dead Dead Demons for you specifically. It's got a really high density of ideas of pretty much perfect execution. I think a lot of my favorite manga would be pretty repellent or boring to you, but DDDDD seems like you would really enjoy it. Yeah, I want to read it. I'd like to read that one. That's probably the one I'm the most interested in out of all of his stuff, but it's also not completed, so fuck it. And I usually read stuff after it's released in America, so, you know, if it comes out here, I'll probably pick it up. Also finish Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Yeah, I'll do it one day. It's so long. All the stuff is so long. Oyasumi Poon Poon's like, what, 10 volumes? It's long. Like 10 giant volumes, I think. The volumes they release here are fucking huge. Have I read any Junji Ito manga? Yes, I read like most of Hellstar Ramina. I think I'd skipped like the first chapter because I just wanted to see shit get crazy, and man, shit got crazy. I think it was called Hellstar Ramina. I am way low in my chair now. I've got the fucking breakfast song beat stuck in my head. All right, anybody? Final questions. Anybody got any more questions? More. Moe Kyun. I guess this was probably not the best time to have done this at 1 p.m. on a weekday. I was gonna save it for the weekend, but I wanted it to be before the end of the month, and people in the chat seem to be okay with this time. But you know, at least What About Things is being my replacement Untitled Abridger for today. It's the one asking most of the questions. Are you and May interested in rewatching Cardcaptor Sakura anytime too soon? It's long, but one of my favorite shows. I think she'd love that show, so I'd definitely like to watch it with her. I don't know when we'll find the time. Like, we barely have time to even watch any anime, especially now that we've been getting into doing Let's Plays. Like, that's basically the time we would be watching anime normally, so I don't know. It's possible that once she starts school, we won't have time for Let's Plays, and then we'll just watch anime instead, so maybe that'd be how. Kisniver, how's it different from other Trigger? It's just, it doesn't have the same feel. Well, it's pretty similar. I don't know, it's almost the same. I don't know what answer you're hoping for in that. We should watch Doremi together. I agree. I want to watch like every Magical Girl show with her, because she just likes cute shit. Do you still have a P.O. box? Yeah, I have a new one. Nobody has mailed me anything yet. I made a whole video announcing it, but I have yet to get anything in the P.O. box so far. Though I might check today. I have seen Untitled Abridger's video about the Monogatari series, how it's out of order. Back when he first made it. Do you have any advice for someone's first anime video? Talk about something that people care about. Be funny and entertaining. Cut out any unnecessary bullshit in your script. Competent editing. And be confident. Sound confident. Don't sound like you don't know what you're doing. I wanted to mail you the Blu-ray, so Kill La Kill like 2 years ago and forgot to, so maybe I'll do that soon now. Yeah, you gotta do it quick, because I only have this P.O. box for 6 months, so it's gotta be soon. Okay. Do I want more Swedish candy? Let's see. I didn't eat, like, any of the Turkish pepper. Like, that stuff sat on the counter forever. But the other shit you sent, I think we ate. I think you sent those, like, peanut butter bricks. Definitely went right through those. What is the best candy? Probably Reese's. Anything Reese's. Reese's Sticks. Those are, like, my favorite. They're new stick-shaped. Those are kind of new, and they're not everywhere, but Reese's Sticks are the best. Plop. 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 Alright, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Next month, I'll be sure to do this on a weekend at a regular time. I mean, not that this was, like, much less active than normal, but, you know. And in fact, maybe you guys are excited because different people got to talk this time, as opposed to it being the usual suspects. So, you know, I don't know one way or the other, but I had fun. I hope you had fun. Now I'm gonna go probably finish a couple uploads and scheduling, and then go play video games and listen to the Dick Show. And I'm finally gonna fucking catch up on the Dick Show. First one I was in and it was fun. Yeah, all right. Fun time, good time had by all. See you guys later, and remember, this will be archived, so if there's anything you missed, just, you know, click on the video and it'll be there. Toodles.